Hey, you are watching and listening to the Heidi Rue Show podcast. I'm Heidi, and the show actually isn't about me. I just didn't want to open up another social media channel, if I'm being totally honest. But it features female leaders, creators, and innovators. And today I'm talking with Leslie Zinn. So excited. She's a mom of 4. She's a graduate of Georgia Tech, a wife, and she's CEO of Arden Garden. It's one of the Southeast's largest juicing companies. Arden Garden has stores in Georgia, Florida, Tennessee, North Carolina, and South Carolina. And they also are in a lot of grocery stores. So if you shop at Publix, Whole Foods, Sprouts, you'll be able to find Arden Garden. And personally, I'm a huge fan. Basically, Arden Garden is, to me, what Chick-fil-A is to my husband, Mike. Anytime that I need like a quick lunch or even a quick afternoon snack, something healthy to make sure that I get everything that I need in my day, as far as nutrients go, I always stop by Arden Garden. We have one really close to us in Vinings, as well as near the studio right off of Howell Mill. So I am always in there. And I was so excited when Leslie said that she would come on the podcast and share her story. And oh my goodness, her story is pretty incredible. So Leslie's mom, Arden, she was really the one that started Arden Garden, obviously because of the name. She had always been a health nut, like before it was even cool. And years ago, back in, I think she said late 60s, she wanted this juicer. It's called the Norwalk juicer. Well, at that point, it was like $1,000 or so. She didn't have the money. But she still wanted this juicer. And finally, she said, I'm just going to go ahead and buy the juicer. She put it on a credit card. And she said, I'm going to do it the American way. She put it on the credit card and bought one. So then she started making juices for her family and her friends. Well, 2 years after that, so this is in 94, she started selling them. But that's just the beginning. This is the story of creative thinking, resiliency, and determination. So let's go ahead and hear from Leslie. Leslie, I am so happy that you're here on the podcast. Thank you so much for being here.
I'm very excited to be here. Thanks.
So I already gave a little background of your mom, and she was a huge health nut back in the day before a lot of people even talked about those types of things. So I was just wondering, what was people's response to your mom? I mean, were they really like, you're a nut when you're talking about all these vegetables and juicing and...
So that's a difficult question for me to answer because I grew up with that. So what you grow up with is normal for you. You maybe don't see those things happening in other people's houses, but in our house, this is what we were doing. I mean, every morning we came to the kitchen and there was a glass on top of a plate with a mixture in it, and it was called the concoction. And it was whatever my mother was into at the time. Okay. And honestly, it tasted horrible, but it would fill you up and make you feel great.
Yeah. So, what was the purpose of the plate?
I think she wanted to make it seem like she had prepared something.
I love it.
She wasn't a big chef, so yes.
Yeah.
She was a good blender.
That's great. What was the moment that your mom thought, okay, I'm making these juices. This could be a viable business? Or was there ever that moment she just kept doing it?
I don't think my mother ever thought it could be a viable business or cared, because my mom is completely not motivated by money. She is completely motivated by wellness. So if she could have continued to make juice and just hand it out to people, she would have.
Yeah.
She would just have kept on doing that.
So did people just start offering to pay her for the juices? Like, can you make this and I'll pay you a certain amount?
Some people offered to pay her, and she never really accepted it. What happened was a health food store opened in her neighborhood, and they heard about her because she was making juice for people and just driving it to their homes. So they said, hey, come to our health food store. We're going to give you the produce. You will sell the juice and we'll split the sales. And she thought, this is perfect.
Right.
So off she went.
But it didn't end up to be perfect.
It did not end up to be perfect. No, she had a Norwalk juicer, and that juicer is a home cold press. It makes maybe a gallon an hour, super labor intensive. So she recruited my brother and I to come and help her. And my brother took one look at that juicer and said, there is no business here.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
that's going to take way too long.
Yeah. You're never scaling up on this.
Yeah.
My mother she actually bought 2 of them. That just shows her business acumen.
She's like, okay, one won't work. Well, we'll buy another one.
There you go. So yeah.
On the credit card again as well?
Yes, the second one was used.
Okay.
So she found a used one.
Smart lady.
Mm-hmm.
So from there, it was Return to Eden was the store.
Yes.
Tell me about that point that you came to, or that your mom came to, where you're like, okay, this isn't working. Mm-hmm. What do we do? So
nobody was getting paid. My mother was getting paid a little bit and really not enough to live on. So as just as an alternative, remember, we're bottling in mason jars. We're writing the names of the juices on top. So we said to her, please go into Buckhead, where people have money, and try to sell these juices. And we thought, go to lawyers' offices.
Sure.
Lawyers
have money.
That's right.
Yeah.
But my mother doesn't think like regular people, and she went to hair salons. And that decision truly changed things for us because in 3 weeks, she was selling 3 times the amount in hair salons as we were selling inside of Return to Eden.
Wow. And what was that price that you guys were selling the juice for at that point?
So at that point, we had 2 lines. We had a commercial line, which was selling for $3 for 16 ounces. This is 1994, and $8 for organic.
Wow. Mm-hmm. So that probably was a hard sell back then, because a lot of people were like, I'll just eat an apple.
Nobody was juicing.
Yeah.
Nobody. So there was sort of the innovative thing, like, oh, wow. And our stuff tasted great, most of it. The healthy stuff still had a little acclimation to get to. But, nobody was juicing.
Wow. And what do you think was it about your mom that she thought of that hair salon? I mean, was it desperation? Was it determination? Was it creativity? Was it just...
I couldn't tell you. I think that my mother just thought, hey, I can go into these hair salons. They're not going to kick me out. There are people in here. Mm-hmm. They're sitting in chairs for a while.
Yeah.
She got a really warm reception right away.
Huh.
So I don't know. I don't know what she was thinking. I just know that she came back that first day and had sold a bunch of juice.
Wow.
And we were like, rock on.
I know. Well, it's so funny because for the first time, maybe it's been a year or so ago, at my hair salon, somebody came in selling something.
Right.
And that was the first time that anybody had ever done that. I think it was like sandwiches or something.
Exactly.
And then when I heard your story, I thought, oh my gosh.
They
got that from Arden. She was the OG.
Yeah. Well, to tell the truth, there were other people delivering sandwiches also, but I think that was a great idea.
Yeah.
And she went with it.
That is a great idea. And then from hair salons, you guys went into grocery stores, right?
Yes,
okay.
But there was a period there. So while we were selling far more outside of Return to Eden, we needed to move. We needed more than a table and a sink. So we found a retail space near where my brother lived in Virginia Highlands. And
we've got a squeaky chair here.
We do. We do.
And poor Leslie was going to have it, and we switched. So Hunter's in it now. It's our sound effects for the podcast today.
Ooh, pardon me. Anyway, it was probably a year and a half between hair salons and getting our very first grocery store. Yeah.
And there was a problem with the perishability, right? Because if you're in the grocery stores...
Well, there was a challenge.
That. Okay.
Perishability always has been a challenge for us. I've never known a business where the product wasn't going bad. Mm-hmm. So as far as grocery stores, they were afraid to have a product that was going to go bad. So we offered them a guaranteed sale. We were very lucky that Kroger at the time was decentralized, and there was a manager at the Kroger at Ansley that was very willing to take a chance, and he did.
Wow. And what is a guaranteed sale?
So it means that we would put the juices on the shelf, and if it didn't sell, we would buy it back.
Wow.
Yep.
And how long do juices usually last?
So at that time, the juices lasted anywhere from 4 to 10 days.
Oh, wow.
Depending on the flavor.
That is a lot longer than I assumed.
Really?
Yeah, which is really
try
good.
to work with 4 days. I mean,
I know, I'm
you
not
make
the person.
it one day, you're delivering it the next day. It was challenging.
That's true. There was something that happened in 2003, though, that I would love for you to talk about, because Publix was carrying it. It was one of the biggest retailers.
Yes.
And they moved Arden's Garden juices off the shelves to replace, or they replaced it with a big brand's juice.
Yes.
And you were like, we can't do this.
So we had
what did you do?
just bought our first plant in East Point, and we had moved in about 3 months before. And we got the call that Publix was going to stop taking our products starting the very next day. That is not a call you want to get. I literally could barely put a sentence together because they were a large part of our wholesale business, and we had just bought this plant, and, I didn't know what we were going to do. So I basically thought about it over the weekend because they called on a Friday. And on Monday, I came back and I had thought to myself, what makes us different? And I said, well, we're healthier. Okay, that's great. We taste better. Okay, that's important. What else is different about us? And I knew that our customers were very loyal to us. And I knew that because we already had retail stores at this point. And so we had direct interaction with our customers. So we would hear from them on a daily basis. And so I also knew, having dealt with Publix for 5 years, how customer service oriented that Publix was.
Oh, right.
They would do some incredible things to keep their customers happy. And so I thought, okay, I'm going to reach out to the people I know and say, if you want to be able to buy our product in Publix, or you just care about supporting small business, please reach out to Publix because they will listen. And many people reached out to Publix.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
It was over 600, right?
It was many. I have no idea.
Wow.
All I know is that 3 weeks later, Publix called me back, and they said, not only are we bringing you back into Publix in Atlanta, but we are going to bring you in through the warehouse, where you'll now go into 3 different states. So,
oh my goodness.
yes, we went from something like 30 stores to 200.
Wow.
So what was a absolutely awful possibility, challenging situation turned into the biggest blessing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Leslie, it's interesting to be able to hear the story, obviously, now from where I'm sitting, because years have passed. You've gone through ups and downs. So I'm seeing this amazing growth of your business over the years. And I know it's not happened overnight. What do you think has been the biggest key for you and Arden's Garden growing this way?
Well, the growth has been slow and steady. We've been in business 24 years. So I think the key has been offering a quality product with great customer service, so people know what they're going to get and they trust it. And that's what I think has kept us growing.
Yeah. What do you think, or what moment was there? Because I'm sure there were many that you or your mom ever thought, should we just give up? Like, there are so many issues that you've encountered over the 24 years.
Yes.
Was there a moment that sticks out in your mind?
Well, the Publix moment.
Okay.
For sure.
Okay.
That was a terrifying moment. There have been other challenges over the years. Juice got very hot in 2014, 2015. A lot of people entered the marketplace. So we weren't the only game in town. And how did we stay true to our values? How did we not try to follow the trend? those have been issues that we've had to deal with. But the one that I would say was where I seriously was like, oh, goodness, will we make it, was that 2003 one.
Yeah. You mentioned your values, sticking to your values. What are the values of Arden's Garden?
So the values is that we are committed to making our community healthier. So my mom's entire focus is health and wellness. And we also have a key affordability. We believe that good health should be available to everybody. And so we make sure that our products are good quality and a good value so everyone can have access to them.
Yeah. Let's talk about your family and you as a mom, because that's a very important role as well.
Yep.
You're a CEO and you're a mother of 4 kids.
That's right.
How do you inspire them to be more healthy?
Well, I practice what I preach. Our home. So a lot of the products that we develop are things that I have as a mom see that I need.
Yeah.
So when we started offering a plant-based food line, it was because you cannot live on juice alone. And I was seeing how hard I was struggling to offer healthy food on the run. It's tough. Everywhere you turn, we have white processed food.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
And so in order to be able to offer things and snacks that my kids would eat, I was developing these products that we could offer to everybody.
Just going to turn my phone on silent. Sorry about that. I normally have it off, and this whole past week when we've been moving, my husband's like, "You're not answering your phone. Oh my gosh, will you take it off of silent?" And of course, then
if it makes you feel any better, my daughter flew back on the red eye this morning, and I had my phone on silent, didn't pick her up at the airport.
Oh no!
So there you go.
Okay, good, Mike. It's okay if I didn't answer your question. So, what is something that you learned from Arden, your mom, that you feel like is one of the greatest lessons that she taught you?
The greatest lesson that she taught me was not to compromise on my values. So, for example, in 1996, Odwalla came out with a batch of juice that had E. coli in it. And at that point, E. coli had never survived in an acidic environment like apple juice. And a bunch of people got sick, and unfortunately, a little girl actually died. And so it was tragic event. So at that point, the FDA got very interested in fresh juice, and they were regulating us very heavily. And then also customers were getting very nervous. They didn't want to offer something that could be dangerous. Almost 95% of the companies at that point switched to a processed juice.
Wow.
And my mother refused because she believed in fresh juice. She believed in live enzymes and all the nutrients that came with a fresh product. So at the time, we lost Kroger as a retailer. And eventually, the FDA mandated that all juice companies, if you were going to wholesale it, had to achieve what's called a 5-log reduction in bacteria. So you did have to process it in 2002, all companies, but we remain fresh in our stores. So if you sell to the end user, you're able to offer a fresh product. So we make everything as fresh and unprocessed as possible so that we can offer good health.
Yeah.
That's the ultimate goal.
Yeah, I love that. What do you feel is a lesson that you want to pass on to your kids?
The lesson that I want to pass on would be to work hard, be true to your word, do the right thing just because it's the right thing.
I love that. What do you feel like is the future of Arden's Garden?
So I think we're going to continue to grow and spread our message. I think we will expand our line of food in addition to juices. We just came out with 4 new juices and 4 new shots for Publix. We actually just had a big expansion this week with Publix.
Oh, wow. Congratulations.
We're now in 1,200 stores with Publix. So that's super exciting. And so we're still growing and developing new products in our juice line, but we're also offering new foods. I think that we will get a wider presence in the Southeast, maybe up the East Coast.
Yeah.
And, spread the word of health.
I love it. And we were just talking, I mean, obviously I love your juices. Yoga one is my favorite. And then my smoothie, I've tried to try other ones, but I always go back to the spinach slam with a shot of ginger. That is my go-to. Our assistant Hunter knows because he's gone to go get me a smoothie. But then as far as your food goes, we were just talking about this. They have a vegan taco salad that is to die for. It is so delicious. And it's so filling.
Delicious. I agree.
I mean, it's just so good. And
it's
then
fabulous.
You've also got some wonderful, like healthy little sweet desserts that are delicious. And the cinnamon rolls, I love those.
Yeah, me too.
Oh my gosh, so decadent.
Yes, I'm the first taste tester.
So one more question really quick. You became a mom at a later age, which I think a lot of people now, that's happening to a lot of people.
Yes.
You're like, yes. Mm-hmm. What advice would you give? And maybe it's just based on health. As being an older mom, my husband and I, we haven't had kids. If it happens, still, I would love for it to. But then I also think I feel tired. I feel tired on a day-to-day basis. I'm like, oh no, I don't know how I can do this. So what would be your advice to someone that is an older mom?
Eat healthy. It really affects the way we feel. The thing that I used to think is that if I ate unhealthy, it would make me feel bad because I felt guilty and I was going to gain weight. But there's a direct connection between what we put in our body and how much energy we have. There's a direct connection. Yeah. And a lot of us don't know that because we eat kind of unhealthy, so it's our normal. Mm-hmm. But once you clean up your eating, you make juicing a part of your life and you feel that, you're like, oh goodness, this is what it's supposed to be like. Right. So yes, I am the poster child for later in life motherhood. Yeah. I had all my children after 35, 40, 42, and 46. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I give hope to a lot of people.
I know, it's
Drink
wonderful.
the juice,
and you
baby.
Still look like you're like 40. So
I love you, but
if that's not a walking testimony, I don't know what is.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, Leslie, thank you so much for being here on the podcast. I feel like I could talk to you for forever, but we just wish you the best of luck with Arden's Garden.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for having such a wonderful value as a company and committed to health, and it's affecting us all. So thank you so much.
We appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks so much for watching this episode of the Heidi Rue Show podcast. Don't forget to subscribe so you can catch the next one, and make sure you hit that bell. And if you'd like to listen via the podcast platforms, you can find those below. We would love to hear from you. Join in on the conversation on Instagram or Facebook. And I hope this episode encouraged you. Don't stop, get it, get it.